that's standard call. Yeah. This is, I mean, this is a reasonable spot to want to check raise. Again, given the fact that we've been aggressive so far, and again, that we are losing, I would probably not do it, because there is a bunch of air that he could put us on. There's also the fact that if a 9 or a 4 does come on the turn, I think we can credibly rep a 7 and get bluff equity from that. There's a lot of good runouts for us where we can turn around to a bluff and it turns out well. And also we have equity. So I certainly think check calling's best. It's kind of bizarre to get a check behind here. I would expect this would be weak shit on value rather than air, because I think even with the weakest of air, this is a good enough board to want to see bet on. Unless Old Time Gin just been check raising nonstop, which in case Ike may be trying to make his c-betting range stronger to exploit that. But again, I would expect some weak shit on value here. I mean, obviously with our equity on the turn, that I definitely want to bet here. There's certainly, I think we have a good enough equity, and there's certainly some runouts where it would make sense to bluff. And if he did have air, then we'll get him to fold that. Where if we did check and he bet, we'd probably call, but then we could get bluffed off on the river. And if we check and he checks behind, we could also get bluffed off on the river. I think this is one of those spots where it's tough because I'm so inclined to bluff. I think this is a good spot to bluff. I think it makes sense for us to have a 7. It doesn't make much sense for him to have a 7. It also makes sense, I guess, for us to have like Queen 2 suited, King 2 suited, Ace 2 suited, and it doesn't really make any sense for him to have a lot of 2s in this range. We could also thin value bet 2 pair or a set, which would be completely congruent to how we'd play the hand. Then again, there is a fair amount of air he could put us on, and we have been playing really aggressive, and again, I'd be very inclined to skew my ranges towards lower bluffing frequencies. So that's close, but I guess it really depends on at what stage of the match this was, and you know what the history was at this point. Maybe Old Time Gin had slowed down at this point, and if that's the case, I think it would be reasonable to bluff here. And he pulls the trigger. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if a hero called here, but I think it would be a pretty damn good hero call to make. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think it was great that we in fact did win the hand. But I think this was kind of us getting owned and lucky that we actually had a pair.